Hi, this is a presentation for nursing students, for anyone who is interested in nursing and wants to understand how nursing and psychology link. This past quarter, I took a psychology course and I learned a lot of things. Three things, the most important things that I learned that link nursing and psychology together that I want to talk about today are developmental psychology, personality and personality traits, and stress and coping skills. First, developmental psychology. I think that this is important in nursing because in nursing we can do so much. We can branch off and take on so many specialties. We can do pediatrics, we can do med surg, and we can do geriatrics, just to name a few things. And it's important to understand your client, your patient, and what stage they're in, and some of the developmental stage that they're in. So one of the most interesting theories I learned were Erikson's theories about developmental psychology. He talked about trust versus mistrust, which if you're going into pediatrics, that would be probably something that you're going to deal with your younger population. And then as you get into your 20s to 45-year-old age range, they deal with intimacy versus isolation. Then as you trickle down to the older adults, you deal with integrity versus despair, industry versus inferiority. I really don't have a tool to assist you in developmental psychology. It's something that you have to research yourself. But some people that you can research that I found very beneficial are Erikson's theories, which I just named off some of his stages of developmental psychology, and also Freud. He had some interesting theories about developmental psychology. And as I said before, this is important to know in nursing because we have to understand what stage our patient is in, what they're going through, and just to understand their mindset. Secondly, what I found interesting that links nursing and psychology together was personality. In nursing, you're going to deal with a lot of different personalities. You're not just dealing with just you and your coworkers, but you're servicing people. So you're going to be dealing with a lot. You're going to be dealing with your own personality. You're going to be dealing with your coworkers. You're going to be dealing with your patient. And you're going to be dealing with your patient's family. So those are like 4 different personalities you're going to be dealing with. One of the things, just to learn if you don't really know about your personality, the Myers-Briggs test, you can Google that, but that was a very interesting tool just to learn about my personality trait and how I'm more sensible, I'm more of a thinker, I'm more introverted. It just tells you things like that, what type of personality you have. And then also, this website, Human Metrics, it tells you how to understand other people's personality, which I found very interesting. And then this is just what it says. Oh, well, this is the website. I hope you can see that. It's like a side view, but you can, like there where the boxes see, you can kind of get an understanding of other people. And it has like thinking, if they're a thinking person, an intuition, sensing person. And this is just what the website says. Determining other people's personality. Understanding the personality of other people is extremely useful in establishing effective relationships with others. This page explains how to identify other people's personality. And in nursing, you have to establish a relationship with your patient. In order to do that, I feel like you do have to understand their personality. You have to understand whether they're an introvert, whether they're an extrovert. You know, some patients don't talk as much. And maybe it's just their personality trait that they're not talkers. Maybe they're just thinkers. They just internalize a lot of stuff. And I think that's just like a quick way to understand your patient, just like right off the bat, just to get a feel for your patient or whatever, because you have to establish a relationship with them. You're going to be giving them meds, you're going to be drawing their blood, and you have to get a good relationship with your patient and with your patient's family. So you want to know if they're an introvert, maybe they don't talk as much, and you shouldn't get offended by it if they don't talk as much. Maybe they do talk, they think out loud, and you just have to learn how to deal with people. And your coworkers too, and your patient's family members too, just to learn how, like, oh, maybe it's somebody who doesn't talk a lot. Maybe I shouldn't talk as much around them. Maybe it's somebody who is very impersonal and they don't want to talk about their weekend. They don't want to talk about how they've been doing. They're very professional people. So I found that to be very interesting. Learning about personality, I found that very interesting from my psychology class this past semester. The last thing that I want to talk about that I found to be the most important thing, everything I learned was very useful, very important, but the most important thing that I learned about was stress and coping. I think that this is very important because nursing is, no matter if you go into pediatrics, geriatrics, med-surg, ICU, PCU, it's a very stressful career. We have to prioritize. We have a lot to do. We have to pass meds. We have to draw blood. We have to call a doctor. We have to attend to our patients, attend to our patients' families. We have so much to do, and it can be a very stressful career. And we're nurses, and nurses take care of sick people. Being sick is a very stressful time in a person's life. So they're going to be stressed. We're going to be stressed. Everybody's going to be stressed. So we need to learn about our stress and coping skills. We need to learn about how to help our patients when they're stressed and teach them some coping skills also. So that's why it's very important. Stress and coping is very important to me because you can get burnt out, and people do, when they're stressed, they can do crazy things. So you got to learn about nursing burnout. You get burnt out from being stressed, and people, you know, they don't get well under stress. They don't thrive under stress. So it's important to teach people coping skills. And one of the websites that I found very, very interesting was this website. And it was a test, and it showed you, well, it didn't show you, it was a test. Well, it did show you some stuff, but you answer these questions. Oh, I hate y'all. Well, it's a question, and then you have 4 levels. Like, I always do this, I medium amount do this, I little do this, or I don't do it at all. It'll ask you like a question based, like, it'll be like, do you drink? Do you make a lot of jokes when you're stressed and stuff like that? So I found that to be very interesting. And it tells you about your stress level, how you internalize stuff, your emotional management, your functional management of stress. So it tells you about your stress levels. So that's good to know about yourself. One of the other things that I looked up was coping. And I actually looked this up on Pinterest. I looked up coping skills on Pinterest, and it was 99 coping skills. And it has a lot of things on there. Some things you can do in a hospital setting, and some things you can't do in a hospital setting, like cooking and stuff like that. But it has a list. I don't know if you can see it. But it has Pinterest. Pinterest is a good resource for coping skills. See? Wellness tools versus coping skills. And it has 99 coping skills. And it just has things like take a walk, take a break, go close your eyes and relax for a second. And I think that that is very important. This is something very interesting to Pen, because you can use these skills, and your patient can use these skills, and the patient's family members can use these skills for going to cope with their stress, whether they're in a hospice setting, which is end of life care, or whether it's a parent in the pediatric setting. say at Riley Hospital, and they're dealing with their children being sick. Maybe they need to go take a walk. Maybe they need to go take a smoke break. Maybe they need to go take a coffee break. If they're in a hospice setting, maybe they just need to go somewhere, sit in their car and scream and cry because, they're upset because their loved one is dying. And that's something that you can pass on to your patients and your patient's family. Like, hey, you maybe just go and just, do whatever you need to do to cope with your stress, because people don't get well under stress. Nurses get burnt out under stress. And that's like the last thing that we want. We don't want nurses burnt out. We don't want patients not getting well. We don't want families to be stressed out. So that was the most important thing that I took from psychology, was learning how to cope with stress, learning my stress level, and learning how to cope with my stress, and learning coping skills that I can pass down to my patients' family, and even my coworkers. So that's it for my presentation. I just wanted to bring to you some of the important things that I learned from psychology, which were developmental psychology, personality traits, and stress and coping. And thank you.